Okay, so here we are, class number 1. Remember, I asked you to consider why you're in this class, why you even want to think about this class, and maybe it's about what you want your life to be like, not only yours, but for the children. Perfect, you're in the right place. Well, let me tell you a little bit about myself and my journey, and maybe you can relate to some of that. Sharon Raji Maynard here. It was in 1971. I had been in a patriarchal religion culture, and I mean, that becomes your whole life from birth. And I am now a wife and a mother, and I'm doing exactly what my culture has said it was for me to be, and that's a wife and a mother, taking care of the children, listening to my husband, keeping the house clean, learning how to grow house plants, panning food. Yes, all of that. And my husband died. Well, let's back up just a bit. 4 years before he died, we had a visitor come to our house to teach him a way to hear God. We called it Heavenly Father, our Heavenly Father. A way to hear Heavenly Father, because Heavenly Father speaks to the man, husband or father, and then the man gives directives to the wife. Yeah, and then the wife follows through by making sure the children obey whatever the man and then God has said. You know, the picture, hierarchy, and the men in charge, because the men are like God. They have male bodysuits. Well, it was a good place for me to be. I'll have to tell you that. My father was great. He loved my mother. He valued her, and very unusual in that patriarchal system. But he was a good dad and a good husband and a good father, and died when I was 13. So here I am, I'm married. It's 1971. And I'm getting along okay, except, there's a few things that my husband does that I normalize. Putting me down, discounting me in front of the children, love bomb. We would call it gaslighting now too. All that was going on. But hey, I'm just the wife. And if there's a problem in the home, it's me. And I bought it. So in 1971, he had a friend come to show him a way to hear Heavenly Father so you don't have to make a mistake. And I listened in on the conversation because I thought, that's interesting. I am curious, just up front. Curiosity is really important to me. And lo and behold, I took the process that he shared with my husband and I went and asked questions. I wasn't afraid of being struck by lightning. I was just curious, what would I hear from Heavenly Father? Then I asked the question, don't remember what it was, because you only have to have one question at a time. And so I asked the question, and I had a paper and a notebook. I'm looking for my notebook. Not the same one, of course, because that was 71. Notebook, pen and paper. Ask the question, still your mind, write down what shows up. And I did. And like 3 pages later, it was like, whoa, that's amazing. Read it. It's all about the children. I stayed on my lane. But it was really pretty insightful because it was a connection that I didn't have before because I had to only listen to my husband. So that went on from 71 until my husband was killed in a car accident in 1975. By then, I called this being, he gave his name as Christ, and his actions and his words really connoted love to me. So whatever the name was, the messages were very loving, very encouraging, and good advice for me as a mother. And that opened the door. So when my husband died, now I'm in charge of the family. I can ask questions beyond just the children. I can ask questions, where to go, what to do, how to build a family, etc. And boy, the world opened for me. And then I discovered that it wasn't that I had to do well with what Heavenly Father gave me, like being a widow, 9 children, 8 children at the time. I got married and had another one later, but 8 children at the time, very little money, scrimping by, trying to make do. And we did okay, but but that's what Heavenly Father gave me as a life path until I realized that, hey, I could ask for a different life path. You call it affirmations. I began using affirmations and realized that I could participate in my own life. I could help design my life, and help came from this being called Christ Sananda. Very good. And then by 89, I was sharing with others. I had clients. I'd learned about the chakra system and crystals, and I was doing energy work. And I was working with some amazing people who had visions and dreams of what they wanted to bring into the world to make the world better. And they kept hitting walls, rug pulled out from underneath them, no finances. I mean, they kept hitting walls with all these wonderful things they wanted to do. They had normalized it. With all the information we had, the ascension movement was going, personal growth, change your mind, change your life, all that was going on, and nothing would break through the cycle of pain that I saw in my clients and in humanity. Big problem, because if we want a different world, we can't stay in the same cycle of pain. So I went to this being and expanded others who came, say, hey, what I know is good, is I like it, I appreciate knowing this much, but there is something causing the walls these good people keep hitting, pulls the rug out from under them, people tearing each other down, especially women tearing each other down. I want to go to the cause. What is the cause keeping humanity stuck, trapped, unable to shine and change in the way they see they could? Are you with me? Do you know that question? 89. And I said, where can I go to learn that protocol, that information? And they said, it is not on the planet. It's been removed from the planetary information of masses by those who want to keep them trapped. But there is a group who has maintained that information. They're keepers of that secret. And if you want to learn, if that's what you want to bring into form, those are the ones who have the information. I said, of course I do. So the door opened into what I call the ancient ones, a team, a group, a collective. And the first thing they said to me is this: you on the planet have been told there are 2 worlds. There's a heaven where God exists, a God exists, or Heavenly Father. And you either are there with that being, or you're on the planet and you're being tested to see if you'll be obedient to this God. That's the model. 2 worlds, heaven, earth, heaven, earth. And of course, for those who don't do so well, we have over here a hell of some kind. And I said, yeah. They said, that's not true. That's a trap. And that has become accepted thinking. And it's a trap. And in order to get to what's the cause, you have to be able to get new information to get out of the trap. Well, I'm curious. Sure, I want to try it on. Do you want to try it on? That's the question. Because if you want yourself, your children, your grandchildren to live in that place, that vision, that dream that you got in touch with, with your welcoming conversation. You have to consider something different. Now, Einstein said it, and we hear him quoted a lot. I'm sure others have said it too. You cannot solve current problems from the same consciousness or the same stories that created the problem. You have to be curious enough to look at other stories. Are you curious enough? Well, here we go. One of the lies that we have normalized is that all there is love here on the planet. All there is love. And so if you're experiencing anything other than love, you just have to love. So let's go to a new model. So here's the model. Here is our home. And it's called source by some people call it isness. It's unlimited. All possibility of good exists there. That is where all there is love, which is an aspect of good. More true would be to say all there is in that region is good. All aspects of good, of which love is one aspect. You see? And did we begin there? Yes, we did. This is our home in the stars. This is our home in that supercluster holder called Laniakea. This is our home. And in that home, all there is good, of which love is a part. And its energy and its movement, its colors, its sounds, its numbers, its waves, whew, but nothing formed because it's only energy. It's high vibration energy. And we exist there as dots of intelligence or dots of light or star being. You are a star being. And in that home, ideas are floating through all the time. Possibilities floating through all of the time. So what happened? Why are we not there? Why are we in this physical bodysuit? This is not high vibration. It's low vibration. Not bad, slow. It's manifested in that home of all good. We exist in mass groups. You know, in a mass, we don't individualize and we don't vote and have democratics. No, it's consensus. And when a concept floats through that is interesting to us as star being, we kind of begin to resonate with that one concept, you see. And pretty soon there's others who are interested in, it's like around the water cooler, we're excited and we're talking about this particular part of all that is. And when that happens at some point in time, that group or star family extends like births into a world region just outside of home, right there. It's called the first world. Well, I have 7 families here because there are 7 different star families that have come together eventually here on planet Earth. Okay? So this is our home of all that is good. It isn't heaven. It has no God because it isn't hierarchical. It's consensus, it's mass consciousness, it's like bees in the hive. And we extend into a specific agenda we choose as a star being to experience our first step away from home, connected like with an umbilical cord, because this gives us life. Home source gives us life. An agenda gives us a reason to move beyond home to begin to experience. The agenda could be, I want to experience the regions that we would call joy or peace or leadership or inner knowing or curiosity. We have 7 of those families here with us on Earth. Now, here is another concept that has been hidden from you. There are some collective groups who've circled around the water cooler with a darker intention. They wanted to see what would be the experience if they were to use other people's creativity, energy, productivity, energy of life. What would it be like to have an agenda of domination, control, voyeurism? What would that be like? Well, that doesn't exist here, but by coding numbers in specific ways, and we are highly intelligent, the agendas, because there's many families who did this, the agendas to control, dominate, be parasitic by nature was created, and they birthed from a home also out there in Laniakea. So we have these families whose agendas are aspects of good, star beings, star families. Those are the ones we recognize. The ones that have been hidden are those families who coalesced around an agenda, some form of agenda of control, domination, parasitic by nature. Now, do you see where we're going with this? So out here in this greater world, there are collective families, star beings, wanting to experience harmony and joy and peace and commonality of that. And then there are some out here that we don't have on our radar who are Cancer by nature. Cancer by nature. And because these particular families were deceived, they opened up the door to one or more of those families of domination. So the biggest deception was a broadcasting into this field that says, hey, welcome to this great adventure. We've been out here longer than you. We've had a lot of experiences, so we know more than you. You're not enough without our help. So you're not enough. Let us give you some ideas and let us kind of help you out. And eventually, these families of light opened the door, and domination groups came in and introduced into the life force frequencies, agendas, concepts that trapped, used, and sucked the life out of these families of light. And as they did that, the energy flow diminished and slowed down and become less and less available to the families of light, your star family, just like any host of a parasitic, began to diminish, life force going down. And as you did that, less and less, you had more experience of violence, of trauma in these worlds that you know nothing of, that have been hidden from you. Domination, deceit, violence, voyeurism happened in these worlds that you know nothing of. Cancer began in these worlds in which you know nothing. And thank the stars, the ancient ones retained that history, So here we are continuing to devolve mystery schools of the Hermetic tradition call it devolution. We began to devolve because we slowed down in frequency until we were almost on the verge of death. So what my team, the ancient ones, were saying to me is there is not one world, Earth here. This isn't even Earth. Earth is here where it's not even happened yet. There is not Earth and heaven. They said there are 8 worlds through which you have traveled. 8 worlds, not dimensions, worlds through which you have traveled before there was even a plan, I tell you, for Earth. Get that? No Earth, all energy, all in group consciousnesses, consensus, trying many things, being attacked, being attached with devices. We were owned in this world. Slavery began in these worlds and still existed there in 89, as did parasitics, as did cancer, existed in these worlds in 1989. And you didn't know about it. I didn't know about it. So knowing is important. Hiding the history keeps you trapped. But as one has said, knowing is the booby prize. When you look out in the world today, and that's not these worlds, when you look out in the earth world today, there are forms, physical forms, situations, people that tell you there is violence, there is trauma, there is abuse, there is ownership, there is slavery, there are witch hunts. They tell you that energy exists. How do we know? It's in form, it's manifested. And why has it manifested? Because it's never been removed and it's been hidden from your awareness that why it exists. So now a lot of us are seeing it out there. We are outraged about it. We think our previous generations should have taken care of it a long time ago. They didn't know. How would they have done anything? They didn't know. We can't blame them. But now you know. What are you doing about it? Do you know what to do about it? Because if you don't know what to do about it, you're sitting in the same stewing pot, and the generations after you will be worse and probably die. Humanity very well could die because parasites kill their hosts. And because parasites were killing us as souls in groups, mind groups, our star families were dying, we came up with a plan because we're very brilliant. And we tried many things, but all the entrapment was still there. What do? We either find a way out or we die. There was no Earth. We were on the edge of energy destruction. So you didn't know. Your mother, your grandmother, your grandfather, your great-great-grandparents, they didn't know either. They had survived. They might have been totally upset, angry, blamed each other, but they didn't know. Now you know. But knowing is booby prize. These mountains that have been created by domination agendas of all kinds are crushing us. Cancer is crushing us. Cancer isn't a humanity problem. It's a dominator problem. It is a controller problem. And you haven't been told that. You've been told humanity is the cancer on this planet. A lie. So sit with that. and remember what it is that you want to have happen. We're here to learn where did those mountains that are crushing us come from? And I've just told you, wake up, because I want to also share with you how we can identify, dissolve, eliminate the mountain, move that energy out quickly. Stay tuned.